All right, we're back with another podcast. Guys, it's been a long wait, I know, for many of you, but what can I do? We got deployed for another third round here. I didn't really publicize it too much on social media. Again, because of our missions were a little bit more complex, a lot more secrecy behind what we needed to do in order to keep ourselves safe in our missions and in the battle space where we were operating. But now we're back, guys. We're back. It's been a few weeks, I know. And many of you have been wondering when's the next podcast coming out. But I'm going to reward you with a really, really good interview today. Today, we have a fellow warrior. We have a fellow, well, not fellow, because this is his world. He is a MMA, mixed martial arts professional fighter. So that's a world that I am not involved in. I do Krav Maga. I teach how to do some of the techniques that he probably uses, but I've never gone as far as almost breaking guys' arm or smashing their faces in on the ring. And this is a thing that he does both in the ring, but also on the battlefield as a warrior. So he's had to fight on both sides, so to speak, of the warrior world. And so I think he's going to have a lot of really interesting insights that that I won't be able to bring to you. And so today we have Eliao.
Eli
is the big name,
no.
But Eli?
Eli.
Eli, excuse me. The big name is Eli. So typically Eli is a short for Eliao.
You're right.
So Eli Aronov, your family name is what background?
Oh, so the family name most of the time is from Bukhara, Kafkaz. But no, my parents are from Belarus, actually.
Okay. All right, gotcha. So that's what I thought. So basically, it sounds Kafkazi to me.
Probably I have an grandpa or something like that that came from Kafkaz or something like that.
So that's probably why your whole family are like warriors, I've noticed from researching your background a little bit. So not just here in Israel, but apparently your family back somewhere in Europe, were up there in the Kafkazi mountains wrestling bears or something, and that's why they ended up spawning a warrior family years later here in Israel.
They were dealing with a lot of anti-Semitism in Belarus. How all my brother got into mixed martial arts is that my father, when he was a kid in Belarus, they suffered from a lot of anti-Semitism, and of course, everyone knew they were Jews, and they suffered a lot from just being hated everywhere and stuff like that. So my father was in a lot, and my grandfather and everyone back there. He found himself in a lot of situations which he needed to defend himself as a Jew in a community that is not nice for Jews because they are Jews.
Right.
And
was the community Christian, Muslim? Like
Christian,
what was the
Christian.
It was a Christian community.
Christian community.
Yeah.
In Belarus, and my grandpa, Boris Aronov, Zichrono Livracha, he put my father into martial arts, into judo, into wrestling. For that reason, to know how to defend himself, and he did the same with us. He said martial arts is a very important and important thing in life, to know how to defend yourself and to have those skills, and it's built a lot of confidence and self-belief, and it's teach you how to work hard. And yeah, he put us in mixed martial arts from young age. Of course, I'm thankful for him for that. We just took it a step further than him. We took it as a profession.
Right.
He's not. I know he's not that happy about that because, he's a Russian, so he's like, be a doctor, stuff like that.
Yeah, I know that. Most of my team are Russian background or the former Soviet Union bloc. So when we say Russian here in Israel, by the way, we say that as a big a labeling of Moldovians or
Belarus.
Ukrainian.
Nowadays it's a big issue.
Yeah,
of course.
now people are learning the difference.
I still can't get used to it. Like back in the day, you would say Russian, and it's all SR days, and everyone speak Russian. But nowadays, it's different, big difference between some people not okay with speaking Russian. They speak Ukraine suddenly and stuff like that.
So you grew up, from what I understand, you grew up in southern Israel, in the desert. Literally where you grew up, it's like our wilderness. I mean, there is no more desert than that. Some even call it the Yeshimon. It's like this, it's like the extra desert, the drier desert, of the desert. And it's rocky and it's miserable, so to speak.
But it's
conditions.
Also, I don't know, you can call it that way because the desert is tough,
Yeah.
Desert makes you tough. I always say like hiking or traveling in the desert. In the desert compared to a forest or something like that, desert is much more tougher, and I think it's also have a great influence of where I grew up and the person I became, because desert is really hot in the summer and really cold at night, no matter summer or winter. And we grew up in a small city called Arad in the desert. It's not that far, like you have more desert places in Israel on the way to Eilat in the Arava. But Israel is it's desert. I grew up as a kid walking around in the desert, searching for donkeys. The Badawi's donkeys.
The Bedouins.
Yeah, the Bedouins.
So just to give you guys some context, so where he grew up in Arad, this is actually where you will take the combat soldiers and you put them through special hard hikes just not too far from Arad. I know the Nachal guys used to do some pretty hard hikes over there. We did, during my time in Givati, we did like a charity hike. It was like, I don't know, 7 kilometers or something small, with a group of like teenagers that was kind of like prepping them, getting ready for their military service. And so we were there to kind of give them this moral support. And the bonus was we get a chamshush when we're done with it.
Chamshush is how to explain to everyone what is.
It's a long weekend.
It's a long weekend. Yeah, it's like they give you an extra day for the weekend.
Exactly. And so we were, of course, thrilled about it. We didn't care that we had to put on our A uniform, totally sweaty and nasty, and start making our way home after that was done. So that's like your backyard, is basically where you do a lot of some key training elements for the combat soldiers. And how would you say that contributed to your military service when you became of age to start your military service? And two questions really is, and what led you to end up pursuing the route that you chose? Because technically you were an athlete and an Israeli champion in your field of was it judo?
Yeah, I started at the age
if I remember
6.
Correctly.
I started at the age of 6 in judo. So it was a long time ago, of course. I told you my father put me into martial arts, into judo. Me and my older brother Rafael, which is also a professional fighter and also fighter in life. He's a Yassam Negev fighter. It's a special unit, police special unit, which fought on the 7th of October in Ofakim, and has a crazy story itself. He killed a bunch of bad terrorists.
Yeah. So basically, your brother was one of the first responders on October 7th. That engaged with the terrorists. In the south.
He was the first,
because he was in this Yassam unit, which is, by the way,
he lives
a very high end tactical unit within the police here in Israel.
So he lives in Beersheba, and
all right.
He lives in Beersheba, and the 7th of October he woke up to this immediately, and he knew something was unusual, and he just gathered his stuff and went to the unit. And 7 a.m. he already was in Ofakim.
Wow.
So he fought in Ofakim.
He flew there. He flew there.
He was the
It's like
the first tzevet, first unit.
First responders.
First respond in the Ofakim. He's in his unit, and they fought there bravely and saved a lot of life.
So we spent a lot of time in the Gaza Strip area with my unit, and you're actually in a similar unit. We'll get back to that, but so what I can say is from operating in that area for like nearly a year, we were about 10 and a half months operating in that area. Driving from Beersheba to Ofakim in like less than 30 minutes is insane. I mean, he flew there.
Yeah.
He literally flew there because I've done that route once or twice to Beersheba when we need to do some logistical trips or whatever. It's not a short trip. I mean, yeah. So, and this is like a lot of the people on that day, myself included, we were driving speeds that we would never drive on a normal, even on your worst speeding day, so to speak. And that must have been crazy. So your brother was there doing that, but where were you on October 7th when that event took place?
Okay, so October 7th got me in Eilat. I was in Eilat. Mm-hmm. I'm also, actually, that's the shirt of the freediving. I'm a freediver. I do freediving. If you don't know, freediving is
explain that, because I don't think most people know what that is.
Freediving is basically just diving with only with only what you have inside, no equipment, no nothing. You just dive as you are, take deep breath, hold your breath, and you go dive downstairs. And it has a lot of things doing with relaxation, meditation, dealing with pressure. Mm-hmm. And I do that. It's some kind of meditation for me, and just a whole different world under the water, quiet, peaceful, and very, again, a lot of pressure. Mm-hmm. So each 10 meters you go down 10 meters, the pressure doubles twice. Mm-hmm. So the
pressure's on your ears and all that.
On your ears, on your lungs, on your air inside you. Mm-hmm. And so I do that. And I was there in Eilat. And the 7th October itself, I called, everyone told me don't drive. I wasn't armed. I didn't have a pistol back then. Mm-hmm. And everyone told me you are not armed, you're not driving nowhere. So I waited one day, and the 8th of October, I drove to Hamal. It's like a place.
Your base?
It's not a base. It was actually a civilian Hamal. It was like just a gather of civilians gathered together to see what they can do to help to this crazy situation in the country.
Hamal is like a command post.
Yeah, command. Yeah,
where you get where information
they collect data and they try to gather all the data and the stuff together to see how we can help this and that, and just connect all the information and the people. So it will be all the information will gather to one place, and then they can make an order and to see how to navigate and to do the situation the best. Yeah. So I drove to this place, and I went there. I said, I'm driving back home. How can I help? Maybe someone needs a drive. And they give me 3 soldiers. I picked 3 soldiers. And actually, crazy story. I drive. I put 2 soldiers in one basement called Tzelim, mm-hmm. and one called Shivta. Yep. 2 basements in Israel, in the south of Israel. And I put ways home to Arad, to my city. Back in the day, I was living still in Arad. And I put my ways, and he just take me in navigation straight to Arad. And I pass by Ofakim, Sderot, all the around Gaza, all the
it's called the Gaza envelope.
The Gaza envelope.
All the Jewish communities.
Yeah, all the small cities and the Moshavim and Jewish community around Gaza. And I literally pass there, and I see I'm driving, and just your brain is not it can adjust. You see I see cars, like burning cars.
Yeah.
I see shooting cars, and I see everything. But your brain just doesn't. He doesn't
Process it.
process. Yeah, it's hard to process the images. And I just, man, God saved me that day. I drove all the way, and you know what? Funny, I pack my stuff, go to the base to Miluim.
Yeah.
They gather me like I recruited, and then day after I'm in the same places, walking around in the bushes looking for terrorists.
Yeah.
In the same places I just drove with my car, like
nonchalantly, not realizing the threat.
Yeah, not realizing the threat, not realizing the situation.
Yeah.
It was just it's because it's really hard to imagine.
Yeah.
In your country, a situation where you need like in the first days, I was walking around like doing tactical walking and tactical like opening like zig, opening,
cutting corners,
cutting corners. Tactical war movement and things,
CQB and so on.
Yeah, things you do at war field inside your country, inside
your
like
home. Yeah.
in your home, in people's like civilians' houses, and it's like in the first day my mind couldn't like process it, which I'm like in war inside like civilian homes and my own country. It just was crazy. Just the experience was out of my mind. It took a long time to process it.
Yeah, I think for me that was probably the hardest thing, is operating within Jewish communities. Not just that, my family and I used to live in the South. We used to live very close to those communities, and we used to go nature hiking and bakeries or whatever. It's like I knew these areas very well. For me, this was home, and to be, like you were saying, to be sent to search for terrorists, and to hear children crying. They're traumatized because they see soldiers, us.
Yeah.
But they're traumatized because they saw soldiers, the terrorists dressed like soldiers, butchering, murdering, killing his friends, his family.
Yeah.
And to see these kids terrified when they see you, your own community, it definitely is psychologically hard. And I don't wish that on anybody, not even on my worst enemy, to have to experience something like that. So let's back up a little bit. Like I was saying,
actually, to my worst enemy, I wish only death, because the things they did to us, I wish for them only death.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, because you don't want that for anybody, and that's the thing, is that these people did things that were unhuman.
Really unhuman. Because even the Nazis in the Holocaust, they did everything they did. They did the best to do the job for efficiency, and they did it. Of course, horrible stuff, but the people that done in the 7 October, the Hamas people, they did stuff that didn't even done in the Holocaust. They did some horrible stuff, which I don't know if the humanity even saw stuff like that. It's some things that it's even hard to tell you the stuff they did.
Yeah.
So it's just a pure evil. It's hard to tell, and the power of this pure evil.
Yeah.
Just crazy that human being can does that to another human being.
Yeah, exactly. It's I call it demonic. It's unhuman. It's not animalistic, right? Because animals don't even do that kind of stuff. And it's sad. It's sad that they did that, and they're paying for it, and they will continue to pay for their actions in this life and in the world to come. So back to your military service. So you were a professional athlete before you started your military service. You're an Israeli champion in your field of martial art, and technically, if I understand correctly, that gives you a pass for military service in combat.
You're right.
Yet you chose the route of combat. And so can you explain that dynamic for you, and how your choice to be in combat is different than for me, for example, where my profile is a combat profile, and you just got to go. Basically, I don't have a choice in the matter.
Yeah, so I was 6-time national champion Greco-Roman wrestling, and I competed in the whole world in Europe Championship, World Championship as a national team in wrestling. And yeah, I had the option to be a spot time it's 10. It's like the army gives you a status.
Yeah,
Status
a
of
champion athlete.
a champion athlete.
Yeah.
Yeah. In which you need to have some. It's not everyone can get it. You need to have a certain standards,
Mm-hmm.
and I had the standards, but I grew up with education from my father, from my grandparents. They came to Israel from ideology, which this is the country of the Jews, and we're here to stay, and we need to protect our country. And Tzionut, they
Zionists.
Zionists, yeah, they came because of Zionists. They felt the hate and the anti-Semitism to Jews in the world, and they came because of that. Of course, all my grandparents went through the Holocaust from both sides. And when it was time for me to serve in the army, I had that option to be the champion athlete and to give up the service in the military unit, in the combat units. I went for a 1 year called Mechina. It's just basically a 1 year which you gather up a lot of people, and we make 1 year full of hiking and a lot of knowledge and a lot of extra education. And because I went there because I wanted to make a decision about my military, and I finished it, and I said I don't have the permission to say no. I won't be a fighter. I won't be a military combat unit. I'll be just athlete, because if I do that and Moshe do that, and then Itzik do that, and this one he's a singer, this one is a wrestling, this one does that, this one is a yeshiva student.
Yeah.
Everyone has his reason. Everyone can find that reason to say no, combat is not for me.
Yeah.
But I said no, it's my time. It's Hineni, after two the Hineni here. And Hineni means I'm here. It's my time.
Here am I.
Here am I. Yeah.
In the English translation. Yeah.
Yeah. Here am I.
Yeah.
And it means I tattooed it after the war because I have two people I know that died in the battlefield. It's Hoffman and Shai Shimri, Zichronam Livracha. And they said that every day, and both of them, Shai Shimri, Zichronam Livracha, he was always like, he wanted to finish his military service, and then the army asked him for extra time. He stayed for extra time, and they're the religious, the Team Lumim, they're religious people. So he didn't get married because of the army, because he was busy. He was an officer. He always was busy. And same Itzar Hoffman, Zichrono Livracha, also he was a Katzin officer in Shaldag. And every time he wanted to go out of the army to finish with the army, and they keep asking him, and he went. Eventually, he has a family, kids, and he went out. He decided to stop being in the army. Of course, he's done Miluim, but after a while, he decided to go back to the army because he said, "There's no one else." Basically, in any, it's just there's no one else to do it. If everyone would say, I'm a professional athlete, I am a singer, I don't know, whatever you do, Bachur for yeshiva. Everyone has that reason why not to.
Yeah.
But everyone should say, here I am. I need to serve as everyone. And especially nowadays, this war just show us how much everyone should serve the country. If you can, of course, in military combat units, because, like I said, there's no one else who will do it. And unfortunately, there's a lot of people that don't like us in this world, and we always like it's written in the Bible, Tanakh v'cherev.
The sword and the
sword
Bible.
and the Bible, yeah. So we will always have the sword in our hand and the Bible in the other hand.
Yeah.
So I think there's no okay and no path for no one to skip the military service, especially if you can. You have to serve as a combat unit soldier, and if not, do your best. I'm not telling you if you can be combat unit, okay, that's fine. I'm not telling you to do something you can't.
Yeah.
If you can't, go do it. If not, do your best wherever you are in the army.
Right. There's plenty. Yeah. There's plenty of positions.
That's a must. We don't have the obligation to say, I can do that. I will go there. Someone else will do it. No, just us. Just us.
Yeah. A lot of times I run into guys that, when you ask them where you served or whatever, right? And because they ask me and I ask them back, you're just having that conversation. And I notice a lot of times guys tend to excuse themselves, right? And say, oh, I was just a jobnik. I was just this. And I stop them. I say, listen, you're not just anything. If you didn't do your job, I wouldn't be able to do my job. You're not just this or just that. You did your job. You did what, like you're saying, you did what, and I have full respect for anybody who served in their service, but like you said, they put in their 100%.
Yeah.
And you put in your 100% in what you're able and capable to do.
And also, listen, let's say the facts how it is.
Yeah.
Where the army decided they need you.
That too.
Because no one is asking you. You go to the army if you have the profile to be a combat unit, so they take you to combat unit. But if no, or whatever reason they decided, they take you to where the army needs you.
Where you fit.
Where you fit, where you fit and where the army needs you. Because if the army needs you to, I don't know what to do, they will take you there.
Yeah.
No one is asking you. That's army.
But you don't look
Israel,
down.
It's an army which
the people's army. Yeah.
The people's army. Yeah. No one is asking you.
Yeah.
The needs of the army. That's what they take the people.
Yeah.
So it's not like I'm in the US Army. I said, I want to be a Navy SEAL, and I go to the Navy SEAL, and if I get, of course, I need to pass the whole exams.
Yeah.
But here you don't have actually choice. Like, you do your best, and where the army takes you, it takes you.
Yeah.
But the most important thing is to actually look. How can I give my best and to donate to the country and to give my best for the country, for our country, for the people, of course.
So you ended up in Golani?
Yeah, I was in Golani, 51 kavod.
The
51 unit, respect. So always say, in Golani, 51, we always say respect after saying 51.
So the 51st Battalion is one of the most famous battalions of Golani. And of course, Golani is a very well-known combat unit, one of the legendary units of the military. So you
the
did
oldest
that.
one.
And one of the oldest ones.
Unit number 1, Golani is the...
Well, that and Givati, by the way, they were together at the same time.
No, right.
Yeah. People forget that part of history. I know. So Givati died out, I think it was in the 80s, and then they got revived like in the 90s or something like that. But part of the original units...
It was Givati was supposed to be the unit to pass water or stuff like that.
No. Yes, that's right. That was when they got revived.
Yeah, revived. Yeah.
But in the founding of the nation, Givati was the one that basically defended Jerusalem against the Jordanian attack. And already then they were a southern unit, if you will, and that was kind of their thing. But so these are the original units of the nation of Israel in already in 48. And Golani is like your legendary northern unit who has done a lot of campaigns against Syria, against Lebanon, and defending the north of Israel. But during your reserve duty now, you're actually not technically in a Golani unit, or is it a reserve unit for Golani guys?
So yeah, I wasn't in the reserve duty of the Golani unit. So in the finish of my army, I got injured in the army. I've done a surgery, and then I went from Golani. I went to a different unit, Bislach called.
Yep. The school.
The school of commandership.
Yep.
And in that way, I end up in. I've did my first reserve duty. I've did 5 months in Gaza with a unit. It's called Chapak. It's Chapak. That could kill me. How we translate that to
Fort Command. Fort Command
unit of the commander of Battalion 162. Itzi Cohen. So I did there with them 5 months, this is the battalion who started the attack on Gaza.
We're talking about post October 7th?
Post October 7th,
right?
Yeah. This is the battalion.
So currently.
Currently. This is the first battalion it's not battalion, it's Ugda. Battalion is Ugda.
It's
bigger than battalion, I think.
Yes.
Battalion is Chativa.
Yeah. I don't know the terminology in English, but basically it's a big division. I think it's actually called a division.
I think, maybe it's a division. It's like, it's a Ugda. It's like four battalions, which is in the war actually was at the beginning of the war there was 11 battalions under my commander in Gaza. 11 battalions. It's crazy. That's a lot. That's around 20,000 soldiers in Gaza. So it was. I did there my first 5 months. It was really, really, really interesting experience because I was next to the commander. The last. The commander of the battalion is this is the last commander who actually is in the field. So he actually sees the war, and he actually the last commander to. How I explain it all? It's so there's the big commanders like Ramatkal and
the generals.
The generals.
Yeah.
You have the generals, and then you have the battalion commander, which is the battalion commanders. He controls the war. He also controls like a general, but also on the other hand, he is there. He goes inside every day, and he stays. There's sometimes we stayed inside Gaza with him for 4 days, 5 days. He wants to see the troops on the field, and he wants to see how everything is going. Yeah. So I had a vision of how actually you see a war from a great commander that controls a lot and takes a lot of decisions, which has a lot of responsibility and influence on the war itself.
Yeah.
It just was a crazy experience to see, how many times you see actually nowadays war controlled by a general, and you see the decisions he's making and why this and not that, and of course every decision in the battlefield it's a life decision. It just was a great experience to see, to learn. Of course also a hard experience because generals like that, he want to be in the bed when something very bad happens. He wants to be there. He wants to see what caused that and what we did not good. And he wants to see how we can make better and stuff like that. So it was a really, really interesting experience to manage to be with a general in this level and to see how he actually, it's like a board game, but he controls a real life war and real life people life.
So you guys had a lot of downtime.
What?
You had a lot of downtime. So, yeah, I mean, for anybody who understands what he's talking about, it basically you're 24/7 with this high up general, and
we are his security unit. When he goes in, we are 24/7 7 with him, making sure he is safe, because a loss of a general in this level, it's a strong victory for the enemy, and a very hard punch to the stomach. Let's call it that way. So
Exactly.
our mission was to make sure he is safe and he can do his job the best, and how how forward and in he wants to be. We need to offer him to be safe. How forward and in he wants to be.
Yeah.
It was really interesting experience.
So you've had a career in mixed martial art. You're 6-1-0. Is that still correct?
Yeah.
Which is a really horrible record, by the way. I mean, it's like, could you have not gotten one more win, you know? So it's 6 wins, 1 loss only, which is insane. And really, you're actually in the beginning of your career in some way, right? I mean, you haven't been doing this for many, many years. You're kind of like in the beginning of kind of like your breakthrough, if you will.
Yeah.
And then this war kind of got you right at that moment. How has that been for you to kind of balance, your professional career and fighting a year-long war here in Israel?
So it's been very, very hard to navigate between a professional MMA fighter and a soldier in the war. Mm-hmm. Because first thing, what a professional athlete and of course MMA fighter needs is routine.
Yeah.
And when you're a soldier, you don't have routine.
Exactly.
You don't know when you go sleep, what you will be able to eat. You know how it goes. You eat whatever you have, and you don't sleep a lot, so you need always something to eat to keep you awake, and just rolling with mission after mission after mission, and there's no routine there. So it was really hard for me to keep the lifestyle I used to it in the war as a professional athlete. Mm-hmm. I've gained a lot of weight in the war. Of course, you have a lot of also emotional eating. Yeah. Because you see a bunch of not nice stuff to see. Yeah. So, and at the beginning, I did my best to keep myself in shape and stuff like that. And in some point, I said, well, it's better to focus on staying alive and being full focused on what I'm doing. And when I will be back at this, I will be back in this. Mm-hmm. And it was really complicated. But I went back and I managed to lose my weight and come back to myself. And the second time I got reserve duty, I was much more experienced, and it was different. I kept my diet better.
You're a little bit more disciplined.
A little bit more disciplined, and also the war was in a different position already. The beginning it was just madness. It was just
survival mode in a way.
Survival and in the wild and rolling with missions it was just madness, pure madness and chaos, a lot of chaos, and just a day like this, and they tell you go here and then they change. It was just madness at the beginning. Mm-hmm. And the second time I got reserve duty, it was a much more there's a more routinable,
a rhythm of a sort that you're
a rhythm of war. Yeah. It's crazy to say, but it was what I'm talking about.
I do. The difference between our first deployment and our second deployment and our third deployment, it's exactly that. You find a groove to get into. And the difference between us is I have over 20 years of military experience and learning the groove of fighting in a war and whatever. But what
you served in the other wars, like Tzukitan,
all of those, all of those. Second Lebanon, And so, but what I can tell you though is that this war has definitely been different than any war we've ever fought in. for guys my age, right? So if we have 20 plus years of experience, or let's say 30 years of experience, there's no war that's been like this, not even since the founding of the state of Israel.
Yeah.
We have not had a 1-year war.
Yeah.
I mean, like, think about that.
Yeah, the war goes more than 1 year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, there hasn't been one war, not the 6-day war, not 48, not Yom Kippur, 73.
Yeah, there's
no war has been like
no
this.
war, definitely not.
And so
And
for sure, this is a first for us, and we're actually making history. You are in
history. Yeah. I always when I think of the big picture, I'm like, I'm gonna tell to my kids, I was in this war. For them, it will be like, my father was there and done that, and he saw all this. And I think that this is the most important war of our country, and the biggest one, and it's still going. We are talking, as we're talking, it's still going. When someone was there, me, you, we were there. We know how it is there. So every time, a lot of time, I have that thing in my mind, like when I'm here cooking or doing that or that, I know someone is there. I know that feeling, like someone. A lot of time has that in my mind. A lot of time when I like partying or doing, when I'm not on duty, I'm training or doing, I'm like, I'm here and someone is there.
Exactly.
I have that in my mind, which I'm really thankful that I have the opportunity and the zchut,
the honor
to have done that, because my whole grandparents was in the Holocaust. They didn't have the opportunity to defend themselves. They didn't have the army that will defend themselves. So I'm honored to serve my country. I see big honor in that. And I think, again, I think it's a must nowadays. Everyone should do it. We see why every day, and the wars goes on, and it continues, and you don't see right now we don't even see the end of it. And I think it's inflict on the people. It's really hard. You see, like, I was just a few hours ago in Har Herzl, in the Mount Herzl, the
main cemetery
from the military in Jerusalem. And you see, like, the 3 guys from my unit died in the war, in the last reserve duty. Ori, Netanel, and Marans, Zichrono Livracha, Tzvi Marans. And so you see, it's only past a month since that occasion.
Were you? So this is the 1 month memorial service.
Yeah, this
right?
is the 1 month memorial.
Yeah. Were you in that scenario where those men fell from your unit?
Luckily, God didn't send me on that mission, but I always ask myself, because the same night that this happened, I was in the exactly places. We did
the same route and everything.
We did the same ride with the convoy. Convoy. We did the same convoy. We supplied the troops, and we've done actually, it was a long night. We've done a bunch of missions in one convoy, and the morning after, this happened in the same places. So I was like, wow. I always say God is involved in this. Everyone calls it different. Luck, God. I'm a believer, so I said God. But you don't know. In war, you have a lot of God, luck involved. Lucky for me, thank God, I wasn't in that convert. So I just came there from the Mount Herzl, and you see, it just passed 1 month, and you have so many new people buried there. And every person is a story, is a family, is a hero.
Yeah.
And it's I say we stay strong. The Israel is strong, and will continue to do whatever needed and until we accomplish our mission, which is to make sure everyone in our homes are safe. But I think you feel the heaviness of the war, because the war is long and it's going, and every day, and a lot of people lives changing. And just like you see it going, and you ask yourself when it finished. There's questions we can't answer, but I know it will finish when we finish the job. We don't have other option, because no one will accept a life which there's missiles on our children's, and someone can cross the border and butcher your children and rape your women. And the mistake Israel did until 7 October, it was to accept missiles on Sderot, to accept terrorists on the border of Kiryat Shmona and Metula, and Be'eri, Sde Boker, Nativ HaAsara, and with the Gaza border. So the one thing I know, we cannot accept the same reality that is a terrorist on our, threatening our families and our people on daily basis. So the war will goes on until we get to a position that is no threat on our families, people, and it takes a lot of I think a lot of spiritual and spiritual power in our. It's really like testing the power of the Israeli community, because if the war goes 2 months, 3 months, it's like it's fast, 2, 3 months, touch and go, But when it continue, and everyone feels it, you feel it with the missiles on your home, and you feel it of the people we are losing on the way, and I think it's very important for our people to hold a strong spiritual belief because of that, because the war is long. It's long, and it's still going.
That's for sure. I think one of the things that's always bothered me for many years, and one of the things that I've tried to draw attention to, bring reporting about the threat of the rockets to Sderot, to all these communities that are constantly in Netivot and whatever, they're constantly under threat from Gaza, and that the world has forgotten them. But for me, it wasn't so easy, because I grew up in Kiryat Shmona, and I lived through the Gulf War, and I know what it feels like to grow up in a war zone that is constantly bombarded by rockets from an enemy on the other side of the fence, which I never get to see, but I get to experience, right? And just that feeling of vulnerability that sucks. And I'm like, this is unacceptable. And then I remember moving to Haifa, and then running into Israelis who are oblivious to this reality. And I remember it shocked me. We were writing, this was just before Rabin was assassinated. I remember we were writing this, it was this whole like peace train, so to speak, right? Rabin's administration was all about peace, and we're going to pursue peace, and they were singing about peace, and they were having all this kumbaya kind of reality that they were living in. And I just survived the Gulf War, and I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. And we're in school writing these like on an A4 page, we wrote salam, shalom, peace, right? Israeli kids in Arabic, Hebrew, and English writing peace, and we were sending this to the enemy, right? Like, we're sending this to those that hate us, and it's like, let's collect all these, and we're going to send it to the Palestinians. We're going to send it to, And I remember looking at the teacher and looking at the kids, like, are you all like mad?
Madness,
I was like, Am I the only one here that sees that this is insane? You know, it's a young kid.
That's the difference between us and them. You know, we seek for peaceful life, for good life.
Yeah.
They seek for war, for death, and for imposing your will and your power and your belief on other people.
Yeah.
Like, you know what is jihad? Jihad means basically to make all the world Muslim.
Yeah.
There's a lot of Muslim people who believes in jihad. So they're literally saying it. We want to make all the world Muslim, and who will not obey to that. You see what the jihad believers doing. Yeah. That's their belief. And so the problem with the peace is that you need two partners for peace, and the countries around us in the Middle East, the only thing they understand is power. When you see your power, they're fear from that, and then they agree to do peace with you. That's the only way. If they see weaknesses, they take advantage of it. And the problem, what was before the 7th October, is that we accept a situation which is weak, and that's just a few missiles on Sderot, on Netivot, and we build the Iron Dome, so it defends us from missiles. So they shoot a missile, we don't see on the intention of the missile. We shoot a missile, exploding the missile, and then it's fine. No one died. So we started.
It's all good.
we closed our eyes from the intentions, you know.
Yeah.
But the intentions are, they will find, if the intentions stay the same. If the missile doesn't work, they will find another way to like make the intention reality. Like we saw how it ended up, and how it ended up. These intentions.
Yeah.
So just Israel cannot accept anymore that, and also this situation happened because of the world not understanding what we're dealing with. They didn't understand. They thought, so the people in Gaza, they're really good in hiding their intentions. Before 7 October, everyone thought in Gaza they are just freedom fighters, and you know, they managed to like hide their really intentions really good. And then in the 7 October, they're exposed their true face and their true intention, which is, it was known for us for many years. Just we also like drowned under the pressure of the world to not make wars and to not have a big wars and not to deal, just build a wall, like, and they will live there, and the Rabin agreements, Oslo, and like 2 countries to, but there's no 2 countries. They don't want 2 countries. They want us. They want Israel. They want us to be eliminated. Yeah. So there's no really partner for peace, and they only understand power. And the world need to understand that and to see their faces, their true faces, which the world saw the face. Just the world has a short memory of the history, and you see how the time passes, and the world goes again to forget why Israel why Israel is fighting the war which is we're fighting. And here is a very important point. We need to make sure the world remember the reason why we're fighting, and with who we're fighting, and what their true face, and why we cannot accept again in any circumstance this just the one missile, or because that's the real problem, which we accepted just that small, just a small here, and we like ignored the true intention of that, and that's we cannot never forget what is the intention, what stands behind this and we should spread it to the world, so the world also not forget who is the bad and who is the good. Because nowadays it's Israel fighting, and I always say it, Israel is fighting the war of the whole world. You see, you have that bad side of the world, and you have that good side of the world, and Israel right now is fighting the war of the world, because nowadays it's Israel, but soon it will be the whole world.
Yeah,
we're going to that direction.
yeah,
You true can see in these days in the world how this world going into. I would say we are so close to World War III. Like you see the world going nuts in the China, Taiwan, Russia, Ukraine, Israel, Iran, Hamas, Lebanon.
you're right.
You have North Korea, South Korea. So just I'm saying which side of the history you're gonna be. I think like every person in this world should ask himself which side of the history I'm gonna be. The side the side with the good people or the side with the bad people. Because first of all, the good always wins the bad. That's what I'm believing in. But second, just you want your kids to live in a good world, and if you're not impact it that way, which every person should do his best to make this world a better place. Or there's no it's black or white. There's no. It's really like black and white. Either you're with the good, either you are with the bad. And I think a lot of people they got a wrong picture of who is really the good in the world, and who is really the bad. And they saw it, who is really the good and who is really the bad. And the 7th October just has a short memory, and that's a big problem, that we have a short memory.
Yeah.
And again, we see nowadays what's happening in Europe. For example, we just spoke about what happened in Amsterdam a few days ago. That history repeats itself, and just make sure we will be on the right side of history.
So the Gazans have been claiming, mainly through Hamas, that they're not getting humanitarian aid, that they're starving, that there's a genocide and all this stuff, right? Both you and I have been in Gaza. Both you and I have seen just tons of humanitarian aid being sent to the Gazans. IDF soldiers risking their lives to protect the corridor for civilians to travel from where the military is operating to the safe areas, right?
Yeah.
And so on. But you've had some firsthand experience of seeing how the IDF assists in that. Are you able to talk about that at all?
Yeah,
do you want to share about that?
Yeah, I've seen in my own eyes, and I've heard the generals in the war how they manage their decision making is also taking consider people are not involved. I mean, every decision a general is making is, of course, for good of our soldiers, but in every decision there's literally there's like a point which is unlike just a normal civilian Gaza, we need to take they taken it in consider. I don't see any war in no other place in the world which is the enemy army is taking consider of the non-army population of. You see it in Ukraine, how many not armed people is dying. Just people are suddenly forgot from the war over there,
Yeah.
because now is the more interesting war to speak of, but the numbers are there are crazy. More than 200,000
200,000.
200,000 people died in the war in between Russia and Ukraine. That's crazy numbers.
Citizens.
A lot of citizens,
Yeah.
most of them citizens.
Yeah.
No one is saying Putin is making genocide like they say about us.
Mm-hmm.
But check the numbers in the war, in our war, how much of the terrorists we killed, how much of them was innocent. And also the innocent people, it's because Hamas taking use of that innocent people, of that innocent population, and building everything, under innocent and civilian places, houses, and hospitals, schools. They just use it. They're using this civilian, this humanity as a protection.
UNRWA, United Nations,
they understand the concept. They understand what the world, how the world see it, and how easy it's to inflict on the world, and how to to inflict their opinion, and to actually sell lies to them. That Israel is killing innocent people just for fun and to do a genocide.
Yeah.
No, we went through Holocaust. We will never do a Holocaust to nobody. We are humans and humanity, army and country. And I think who actually was in Israel and knows the people of Israel, they know. But people are sitting somewhere around the world, never been in Israel, never met the people, and just they're consider the information from Telegram and from news in the TV, which has a strong side of the map, showing Israel as the bad a lot of times, and they're not asking the questions and not seeking for the truth, and I think everyone should ask himself, what is the truth? And the truth is if you actually go and check the truth, it's easy to see. It's easy to see Hamas terrorists kidnap their own civilians, and just to hold them, and they don't give them options. Just they take a house of a family, and they just put missiles in their basement. And they don't ask them. Just tell you don't have options.
Yeah.
And yeah. So if you search for the truth, you will see it. And the truth is really clear, and there's only one truth. And yeah, we are in Israel. We focus on living. We focus on education our kids to a good life, to a life worth living, doing good, and living a normal life, family life, and making this world better. And you see the education over there, which is giving kids like weapons at the age of 5, 4, and educate to death. And the kids there, it's crazy, but they just educate to death and to jihad and all this the stuff. And unfortunately, again, the world doesn't consume the truth. And this it's like a second war we need to make, to actually show the world the true truth about who is the bad and who is the good, and what's actually is happening in this war. We need to get better in this, because this war we are losing. We're winning the war against the bad, but we're losing the war about showing the truth to the world, because a lot of countries and people around the world are still thinking Israel is a bad country, apartheid, and doing genocide in whatever. Yeah.
I mean, so I think what a lot of the world is not familiar with, when I say the world, mainly the West. So you have Europe, you have United States, Canada, Western countries that have been infiltrated by these like you pointed out, these jihadists with a jihadist worldview, where they want the whole world to be under Islam and to be under a certain version of Islam that even Muslims don't want to be under.
Yeah.
And what they're doing is the way that they're spreading their agenda is on college campuses, by making protests, getting a lot of attention in the media, pushing their agenda through, having a nice looking, comedian, right? Is one of the guys I'm thinking of that comes to mind. This guy who's, he's funny. He talks about, these tragedies in like in a humoristic way, but then he kind of zings these Westerners for being stupid and ignorant to the sufferings, that they're going through under the hand of Israelis. And of course, you and I, like you were saying, we live here and we know that reality, and we're not very good at expressing and in telling our side of the story. And instead, the world is looking us like we're the bad guy, and because we're not doing a good job at really explaining the reality, even though we know the reality and we know what's, the truth of what's happening.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people from Lebanon, for example, that are, communicating with me on the daily. Friends of mine who are living in exile in the United States, who write me messages, and they're saying, here's what I'm hearing from friends of mine in Lebanon. Here's what's really going on. Here's what they're thinking, right?
Interesting.
Yeah. So it's like to hear the perspective of real people and knowing what's really happening. You're not going to hear that in the media. You're not going to hear the news talk to real Lebanese people. Well, they talk to real Lebanese people, but they're talking to the enemy. They're talking to people who are paid by Hezbollah via proxy of Iran, that have been trained to give an exact messaging and say Israel's targeting, for example, a radio station, an innocent radio station. And I'm like, well, we were in Gaza and we targeted United Nations buildings, facilities. We targeted mosques. We targeted schools. We targeted a bunch of civilian, so-called civilian areas.
Civilian used.
Yeah, but it's not because we targeted them because they were hospitals or whatever.
Yeah.
We targeted them because we found. I saw. We found the compound where the Hamas terrorists were holding hostages, where they were holding weapons of mass destruction, where they were,
in Gaza you have it's called Mshulash HaKadosh. It's a holy triangle. It's a school, a mosque, and a hospital. It's like all built with tunnels and missiles. We call it the holy triangle.
Yeah.
And it's just school. You see a school, you see a hospital, and you see a mosque, and you just know you're gonna find there a bunch of missiles, tunnels, weapons, terrorists, and all of that.
And the same in Lebanon.
Every time.
And the same in Lebanon.
Same in Lebanon.
So my last deployment was in Lebanon, and I can also attest to the exact same reality there. The difference is it's more professionally done. It's on a higher scale. It's better weaponry,
more army, military.
Yeah. And the level of the intricacy of how they have spread themselves within these communities. I mean, we were in a mass casualty event where 5 guys were killed just a few hundred meters from us, right? And it's like in a town, in a quiet town, right? Like basically where I live, in a nice community. You see where I live, in the mountains. It's quiet. It's nice. It's pastoral. But what you don't understand is what's lurking behind that facade, right? Is an imminent danger to you and everyone around you. And you see the rockets being fired into Israel, and you're being targeted by the Hezbollah guys while you're there in their backyard, and trying to destroy these tunnels, destroy the munitions.
You see how much the people in Lebanon doesn't like the Hezbollah.
Unlike Gaza.
Unlike
yes.
Yeah, like
that's true.
So in Gaza, it's more, which is much more unfortunate. But in Gaza, Hamas was really, really supported by most of the people.
Yeah.
And you see it, like every house in Gaza, in Gaza, you see like flags of Hamas, like literally every house you go through,
Yeah,
you see
mugs and stuff like this.
yeah. You see it like, yeah, you see it in the flags, in the books,
Yeah.
every like,
Yeah.
that's education stuff there.
Yeah.
Like the jihad and the Hamas and
Yeah.
the hate for Israel and they're willing to kill us. But unlike in Lebanon, you see like there's a lot of people who doesn't want the Hezbollah, and of course, you know, who is the head of the snake? It's Iran, of course.
Iran. Yeah.
Which is a country which just saying it loud and clear, we want to destroy and eliminate Israel and also USA.
Yeah.
And people are still don't see the truth as it is. Like, just look at what they're saying. They're saying it loud and clear.
Yeah.
We want to eliminate Israel. We want to eliminate USA and crazy stuff like that. You never heard Israel or America saying we wanted to eliminate this country or this country.
Yeah.
No, we want to defend ourselves.
Exactly.
We want to live.
Exactly.
And their country is literally saying it, and
they're acting on it. They're not just
acting.
saying.
Yeah, they're not, yeah, exactly. They're not like just saying. They're acting. They doing a lot of acting about it. And just I hope the world will wake up before it will be late to these countries that's saying this stuff. And you see these countries also, the people inside, like I said, the people inside these countries, like in Lebanon, the people don't want Hezbollah. Lebanon and Beirut is one of the most beautiful cities in the world. I heard about it, and they want to be, you know, back at I think 20 years ago, Lebanon was with French and all the stuff. It was like it was a city, a crazy beautiful city, and the people there, most of them just want a normal life. But some countries, some places are not like that, and they have a very bad intention. And they inflict in other places, in Lebanon, in Gaza, in that, on the reality. And I hope the world won't close their eyes to that, because first of all, it will get to them too. Sooner or later, the war in Israel will get to them too.
Right.
And you better be aware of it, you know, and be ready. Because again, the war we're fighting is war for the freedom and for the actually normal world. But you know, the head of the snake, they're just sick for death and killing and jihad and controlling the world with this radical Muslim approach. Again, and who is suffering? Who is really suffering from it? It's, of course, is us, Israel, but also the people itself in Lebanon, in Gaza, in Iran. Like, you see how this country working, and their treatment to women, and the treatment to their own people, which is just the poor. The people there are poor. The country is broken, really poor, and they take all the money and invest in missiles to get from Iran to Israel. That's madness.
Yeah.
So also their people are suffering from that, and the world it just doesn't make sense. The world still not seeing the truth and the picture as it is.
Yeah.
Somehow playing like Israel is the bad guy, you know.
Well, I think the problem is, what I've noticed is, when I examine countries in Europe, United States, Canada, you know, these are traditionally Christian nations, right? So their foundations are in Judeo-Christian values, and that's what their whole society is based off of, their laws, so on.
Yeah.
And then what happens is they're living in a society that is a post-Christian nation, where they now have embraced humanism or anything but Christianity, their roots. It's like, no, that's passé, that's old, that's old-fashioned, you know. And same like here, you know, some Jews make fun of Judaism and will make comments like, oh, that's some kind of like, you know, old whatever, you know, thing.
Yeah.
And so because they live in a world where they think everybody thinks like them. Everybody has like this idea that everyone wants peace. Everybody wants safety, security,
exactly.
goodness.
The problem
And
is
the reason why the Gazans are doing what they're doing and why the Hezbollah in the north are doing what they're doing is because of Israeli aggression, right? Is how I hear them say.
Yeah.
And so they'll say, well, because Israel's aggressive and it's because of people like Trump, or it's people like Netanyahu, who's hawkish, like these are kind of what they're saying. And I think the reason why they say it is because they can't, you know what I mean? It's because they don't recognize what you just said, which is just to help the viewers understand what you're saying here about they're next. The reason why they're next is because these jihadists, their worldview is very simple, that the whole world will be under Islam. And as they declared, first the Saturday people, Jews, then the Sunday people. This is a common phrase that jihadist extremists chant. So that's why, like what you're saying is exactly it. The reason why we're the ones who are in conflict, it's not because we're choosing the conflict, it's because they're choosing us. And in their mind, if they defeat Israel, they defeat the Jewish God, they're going to then defeat the Christian God, and then Allah is supreme, and they win.
And you know what's...
And it's that simple, but these other people, they make it more complex. They make it more humanistic, and they don't realize it's actually that simple.
And you know what's really funny about that is that, so all this, so the jihad organizations, they understand that. They understand that this weakness of the people, of nowadays people that speak about freedom and all this new wave of accept everybody and love and freedom and blah 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 blah, and let us be free and accept everyone, and the jihadists, we love them, they don't understand who they really are. They live in a bubble. They live in a different world in their mind, and they're not really understand the intention and what it is really, the jihad idea and all this stuff. They don't really get the idea. They're living in this life of freedom and love everyone and be, I don't know, this weakness. I'm sorry. I just see it as a weakness because these people there don't understand. But there's a lot of people in this world, bad people, but their agenda is not like your weakness agenda, which is freedom and love. And I'm really about freedom and love, and I of course believe in letting everyone live their own life and living in a good way, in a good life, with love, with family, with accepting everyone and everybody. But the problem is you have this evil people which doesn't accept it, doesn't want it. They want to murder you. They want to inflict their belief on you, and like they're not understanding. They're not understanding it. They're not like accepting that there's a people with agenda like that. They think everyone is about love and freedom and that. But the truth is, it's not. I hope this world will be only peace and love, but the truth is not. We need to have the
truth is there's bad people and there's good people.
Yeah, and
you need good people who are strong to stop the bad people.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. You need and you have to be these good people who are very trained, experienced, and prepared to eliminate these bad people, because these bad people, they're not believing all this freedom, love, and all this bullshit for them. They don't see the world like that. They see the world really radical and different than the normal average West person. And as the time goes on, and if these people want to wake up from that bubble they live in, which is all the war, freedom and love and stuff like that, they will find themselves in a really, really deep problem, which is just being weak and not prepared for what is coming to them, because it's coming. You're seeing it. You see where it goes. All this jihad. You see all the terrorists everywhere around the world, and the countries doing all the stuff. You see where it goes, and yeah, you need to seek and to believe in freedom and love and living a good life. But on the other hand, you have to have the sword in your hand, because just the good life and the freedom and the love won't be able without the sword, because unfortunately there are too many bad people in this world that believe in jihad and believe in killing and believe in putting their agenda on all the people in the world, actually.
Mm-hmm.
So I just hope the world will wake up from that bubble. I said bubble, like
it's a bubble.
It's a bubble. It's like they're living in a different world. They believe in freedom and love. Yeah, okay, I know, me too. But
well, here's a simple question. For anybody who's listening, on a potential October 7th, or something, not maybe something as catastrophic. How about just a mass shooting? Would you like this guy or me to be who we are, defenders, warriors? Or do you want the people who are woke, who are weak, who are loving everyone, accepting everyone? Do you want to send them to go stop that guy or that girl?
Yeah,
who's armed and dangerous, and they're shooting, they're killing people.
Yeah.
Who do you want to stop them? Do you want the dude who's committed his life to mixed martial arts, to being the best he can be, to wrestle, and to be able to engage in a human being hand to hand if need to, or in armed conflict?
Yeah.
Or do you want the person who's never picked a gun up in their life, never had to defend themselves in a fight in their life? Who would you prefer? I mean, it's a simple question, right? And I think the answer is very simple. It's not complex. The problem is, people like to complicate things and make it sound, very frou-frou, whatever.
And they like to close their eyes from the fact.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But to me, that's what it boils down to. That I want the guy who's a knuckle dragger, who's like eating nails for breakfast. I want that dude to go fight my wars. I want him to be able to engage against my worst enemy. I don't want to send some blue-haired, pink-haired frou-frou who doesn't even know if they're a man or a woman or other to be like, oh, I'll go. What are you going to do? Yeah. What are you going to do? Like.
Also, and also the education nowadays to this weak freedom, only love reality. It's a huge problem, because I said it's better to be how this quote goes. It's better to be a warrior in the garden than a
gardener in the war.
The gardener in the war, yeah.
Exactly.
So I'm saying, like, you can nowadays, you just see. It's not like nowadays it's pure love and everyone love and freedom and whatever. The reality is there's a lot of bad people in this world that wants to kill, wants to rape, and wants to inflict their agenda on all the freedom people.
Yeah.
And who is in this world who doesn't understand that? That's sad, because they will raise up weak children, weak men, weak women, weak whatever, that will not be able to defend themselves, their kids, or anything in their community or whatever.
Yeah.
And also, what's actually pissing me off is the fact, which is the world is closing their eyes on, they saying Israel is making genocide and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But if you look at the numbers, in the 1 year of war, there's Israel killed in general only 40,000 Gaza people, compared to 2 million. But for example, if you look at the war in Syria that Assad did to fight inside his own people, because they cry, the civil war, they're crying about the killing of the innocent Muslim people in Gaza. But if you look at the war in Syria, the civil war in Syria, Assad and Russia and Iran murdered their Muslim, 500,000 Muslim, just to take control of the
region,
their, which is actually Sunnim and Shim. They want to make sure that the Shim, Assad and his family, big family, and the leaders of the country will stay in the head of the country.
Yeah.
So just for that reason, for that to keep Shia and their jihad in the winning side, they killed 500,000 Muslims, and no one talking about that. No one's saying, "Oh, the innocent Muslim dying over there." No, they care about the terrorists that we kill in Gaza.
Exactly.
That small amount of innocent, unfortunately, we had to kill because they're using them as a life human shield protection.
Right.
They care about that, but they don't care about that. Or they care about the innocent people in Gaza. They don't care about the women and the people killed in Sudan every day, thousands of the Muslims and everything. No one is saying, "Oh, what about the innocent Muslim people in Sudan, the women that getting raped every day and stuff like that." No one cares. That's the whole woke freedom, love, lying face, you know.
Yeah.
They're lying. It's a lie. It's a lie that they.
It really is. It really is.
It's closing eyes.
Because they accept Muslim extremists.
Yeah.
But they don't accept Christians.
Exactly.
Who send missionaries all over the world to build hospitals, to feed the hungry in India, to do things that you and I wouldn't get off our butts to think 2 seconds about that other person who's starving on the other side of the world. But you, who sit comfortably in America in your nice little cozy bubble, like you say, you know, you're loud,
under the keyboard.
You're loud and obnoxious. Nobody wants to be around you. Let's be real. Let's call it as it is. Nobody wants to be your friend. You don't have friends. You're just a loud, obnoxious, entitled brat. When you judge people that will do, and Jews, I mean, I'm just talking about Christians. Let's not talk about, the Jewish startups and charities. We've gone to Haiti. We wanted to go to Iran when they had an earthquake, but they didn't want to let us go over there. But we've been, Israeli charities, right?
Yeah, the small country,
the smaller country. We've sent people to Haiti. We've sent them to Egypt. We've sent them to Turkey,
which is an enemy country to us nowadays.
Yeah,
and we even that's things that even ignore me, make me angry.
Yeah,
we're helping even to the enemy.
Yeah,
and again,
and so these are the people you'll see on the front lines when the rubber meets the road and when people need help. Just now, the United States, when they had the hurricane come through, the government failed because it's a weak government, as everybody I think is starting to understand now, and they didn't have a plan. In Georgia and other states, Florida, they had a good governor, so they were well prepared and equipped. As far as the government, right, the local law enforcement and first responders and whoever could help, so they were okay. But there were whole states where people were helpless, and if it weren't for those mean Christian organizations, right, who had former special forces background, helicopter pilot licenses and whatever, and these are people that I follow, and I know that they're there and they're doing their help because they're Christian, because they believe in those values, but they're the ones that you won't accept. They're the ones that you hate. The Jewish people and our customs and our values you hate, but the ones who are jihadists and want to take over the world and want to ruin everybody's lives, like you, wanting to ruin everybody's life because you're miserable, I'm sorry, I think somebody needs to step up in the West and say enough is enough. We need to stop catering to these loudmouth, privileged turds, right?
In the name of freedom and love.
Exactly, and say now, because real freedom and real love is what I just pointed out. It's people that have selflessly set themselves to go help people, and probably some of those people, I don't know for a fact, but probably some of them ended up dead in the attempt of trying to save a person in one of those mudslides and whatever. They're the ones willing to lay down their life. What are you willing to do and lay down your life for? The answer is nothing. Not even their own agenda are they willing to lay down their life. You and I, because of our fear of God and our love for our country, we were willing to lay down our lives to go fight these terrorists. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah,
what are you willing to do? And that's my question to those people. If you're so high and mighty in your ideals, go ahead and show me what you're willing to die for. because those are the people I want to follow. Those are the people I want around me. Not people who are loud, obnoxious, and
smart behind the keyboard.
And smart behind the keyboard and entitled, and everything has to be about them, and everything has to be about this agenda. And like you were talking about, Israel, and I think that's a good, what we can end with is Israel is one of the most perfect examples I've seen, and I've traveled the world, of a country that really cares about each other and that really cares about the other, the non-Jew, the non-part of the tribe. We care about the Muslims who live here. We care about the Christians who live here. We care about the Druze that live here. We care about the Bedouin. It's like the most multicultural country that I know of in the Middle East. And thanks to those Jews, those Zionist Jews that you label as extremists, we're the ones that basically opened up a new chapter in the Middle East where there is actual peace, prosperity, and freedom for all. That's here in Israel. That's here in Israel.
Shows the actually truth, and live not only by speaking as actions. Like you see, come to Israel, check. Like the second language of Israel is Arab. Like, this is a country that accepts everyone and agreed with everyone and really living by the values of the freedom and love. But on the other hand, if someone intimidate us, attacks us, and wants bad for us, so we'll do whatever needed to defend ourselves. And I hope the world will be more aware of the truth, like we spoke here. The truth nowadays on what's going on. That's an important point, which we need to make sure we speak more about, and we point the people's attention to, because we do need the world to see the truth as it is. And I hope this weakness, non-valued freedom and love, which is one-sided and blinded, will end, and people will start to see what is bad and what is good, and will back up it with actions, with support, with actions, and that's the only way the world will go towards a better place. Because if there's a good and bad, and the good are living in a lie and not doing too much, and to credit to those bad peoples, they believe in something and they doing it. They believe in something and they're actually doing a lot of things to actually make their agenda become reality. Unfortunately, their agenda is bad. If they had a good agenda and they're done the same, this world would be an amazing place. Maybe it will be much better place to live in. But they have a bad agenda, bad intention, and they're actually doing a lot of actions and doing to make it happen. So if the good guys, the good people, will not do the same for their agenda, this world will go to a bad place. So just this is just my point of view, and I hope the world will see the truth more and will wake up from that bubble they're living in, and see what's the truth, what's the truth, and what's the good and what's the bad.
Well, Eli, just to wrap up here, let people know what's happening with you. What's next on the chapter for you with your MMA career? Where can people find you, follow you?
So you can find me on, of course, on Instagram, Eli Aronov 51.
Why 51?
I don't know why 51. Hit me up, ask me questions, whatever you want. Hopefully, I'm hoping to fight. I'm just finished reserve duty last week, and I did my best to keep the shape good, and I'm now will raise up the shape and the fitness back for a few months. Hopefully I'll fight in the cage start of the next year.
Where's your goal to fight?
I'm signed to the organization Cage Warriors, so I'll probably fight in Europe. There's a lot of love there for us, so I'll raise the flag high in their faces.
Yeah, I've seen one of the pictures with your brother holding up the flag.
Always with the flag.
With one of his opponents who was anti-Semitic, right?
Yeah. I think
so you're looking to step in the cage, so to speak, with a lot of
the main
a lot of your opponents will probably have.
Yeah, the main reason why we're doing that is just to put that beautiful Israeli flag in that anti-Semitism people's faces and show them. I don't want to say not beautiful words, but you know what I mean. We are here to stay, and you can go enjoy yourself. We are here, and we always was here, and we will be here forever. So that's I think the main reason why we're doing it, just to show the people Israel is here to stay. We are the good, and we are here to stay, and there's nothing you can do about it. And if you try to do, well, we'll meet you on the
in the ring,
in the field, in the ring or in the field.
Right. I see.
And the good will win the evil. So hopefully I'll represent my country, Israel, start of the next year. And I'm busy meanwhile, of course, reserve duty when the country calls me. And meanwhile, my brother is a policeman. I'm planning on joining to the police or the firefighters. I decided to take also this action too. Hit me up, reach out. I'm more than happy to answer questions or just to get to know you guys. Thank you for listening. Thank you for having me here. I really appreciate it. And I think you are doing amazing work and a very important second war to explain the world what is really the truth. And thank you very much.
Well, it's been a pleasure having you. And I will have all of your social media tags on the description here, so it'll be easy for you guys to find it. Please follow Eli. He is a true warrior, represents Israel, and my support of you and following you on social media is, like you were saying, that you're doing what you're doing because it's representing Israel. It's showing that Israel pride in the world, in the ring with the MMA fighters. And for me, it's such an honor and a privilege to have you on the podcast. It's an honor and privilege to help support you however I can, and to hopefully you can feel the love, the support from us here in Israel as you're going off as an ambassador for Israel. That's how I feel, is that the honor of having men like you representing us, and in an honorable way, that really is a lot to be proud about, and to be proud about being Israeli, and to have that Israeli spirit that you guys are spreading in Europe with the different teams that you're fighting in, and not just in MMA, if it's Israeli sports and everything that Israel has really done really good in the last few years. And I think it's important that you guys really show your support to Eli, because unlike other athletes in the world, you don't get sponsorships and you don't get all these, like Coca-Cola, Nike, whatever, like you would if you were an American athlete or European athlete. You have all these big brands that are standing behind you. Really, the reason why he is at the level that he's at is because of blood, sweat, and tears that you've put in yourself, that you've invested in yourself. And that's important for you people to understand. When you see these people, these Israeli athletes, they're really self-made athletes in many ways. I mean, I don't know any Israeli athletes that have some big brand behind them that support them. But you have us, you have the people of Israel.
And we have the strong heart, Jew heart, and the Israeli heart, and the strong belief in what we're doing, and a strong head to represent the good and our beloved country Israel the best way in the world. So that's the most powerful thing in the world, to represent your proudly country Israel the best way.
So please send Eli your love, your support, follow him, and I'm looking forward to see some really good wins here.
Thank you.